How can we introduce apologetics to Christians that primarily use emotions as their source of truth? Yeah, well, that obviously could be difficult if they use emotions as their source of truth. I don't know. I mean, I think I'm not trying to downplay emotions. Emotions are actually very important. I think emotions help us to understand ourselves better, and they're critical, but I don't know how emotions can be a source of truth, because, I mean, you could be very nervous about something that is important to do, that is good, but your emotions might be telling you something different, like, oh my gosh, don't do this, this is horrible, like, avoid it. You could feel in love with someone when in reality, objectively, your friends and family who care about you and love you and have a really good sense of what's going on might be saying, man, this may not be the right person for you because X, Y, and Z. And so our emotions can be misleading in some sense if we use them as a kind of a primary source of truth. So in one sense, I would want to just be able to talk to them about, maybe give examples of how emotions can be misleading if you use them as a source of truth. They are important because we are emotional beings. God has emotions as well. So there's nothing wrong with emotions. So that'd be one way, is just to show them examples of how emotions can be misleading. Another thing I would, and so that doesn't point into apologetics, obviously, but maybe it'll downplay their reliance upon emotions. But then the other thing would be is I would just turn to the scriptures and show how the scriptures command and model the use of apologetics. I mean, Jesus and Paul routinely engage in apologetics. We're commanded in the New Testament to engage in apologetics. And so if you're involved in evangelism, if you care about the gospel, if you care about the Great Commission, which we all should care about, then I think you should care about apologetics. Because think about it. If you present the gospel of Jesus Christ to someone, okay, let's say you present it to 100 people, chances are not all 100 people are going to accept the gospel the first time you present it to them, right? I mean, chances are they're going to say, no thanks, because, and they'll give a reason. Well, once they give a reason why they're not accepting the gospel, the next thing out of your mouth is probably going to be an apologetics response. Because they might say, well, I don't want to follow Christ because I just can't believe, a good God would send people to hell, or whatever they might say. Well, okay, your response to that objection is going to be an apologetics response. So unless everyone you present the gospel to accept the gospel, then you're going to need apologetics, besides the fact that it's commanded and modeled in Scripture. So I think I would use Scripture to, if they're claiming to be a believer, then, which this question presumes that they are, then that would be legitimate then to use Scripture to show them that, Jesus and Paul reasoned with people, they engaged their minds, they asked carefully, worded questions, they presented evidence, so on and so forth. That's all throughout the New Testament. So anyways, that's probably the way I would approach that.